Hey Dad, can I use the lawnmower to make some extra money? You sure can, son. I bet everyone here thought this was going in a different direction. But this is how today's generation thinks. It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? Hasn't been played in 15 years. Still remembers where you left off. I never thought about it like that, but it's true. How to tell where the Gen X kids are hanging out. 1984. 2044. I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. You might take one of these and put one of those one-wheel boards under it. This photo here is actually an example of Gen X in two different ways. The one way is obvious. If you figure out the second way, drop it down in the comments. Me as a teenager. My parents' vodka.
Here's Johnny.
I loved Mel Gibson and Danny Glover in Lethal Weapon. What's that noise I'm hearing? It sounds like a whole bunch of people angrily beating on their keyboards. Can we talk? You bet we can. Announcing the voice messenger and easy speech for the Commodore 64 and 128. The 80s, when people had terrible taste in clothes, but great taste in cars. Here's another example of the old cereal box records. I never knew they made one with the Beach Boys. I still have their greatest hits CD that I ripped to a playlist. George Lucas, before CGI, 1984. Everyone knows Dennis the Menace, but what was the name of his dog? How many of you guys remember the Kraft Squeeze-A-Snack, which is basically cheese in a roll with a little cap on it that you'd open and squeeze the cheese through? This came long before the Kraft Easy Cheese that we have today, which is basically cheese in a can. And I'm sure both of them were just as awful for you. With that said, have any of you guys noticed what the price is on these Easy Cheese cans these days? It's like $5 to $6 a can. Just a couple years ago, it was like $2.50. Just more inflation. It's 1985. You just bought this. What's the first song you play in it as you drive off? I Can't Drive 55. Unless I'm driving my 86 Chevy. It's geared so low, 55 is its top speed. I forgot that I was once brave enough to do this. Yeah, that is true. Pebbles is 67. Feel old yet? Yes, yes I do. Doctor, are you feeling any pain? Me. Only the normal amount of pain. Doctor: the normal amount is 0. Me: when the metal detector hasn't beeped since 1989. Personally, I don't know if I'd completely agree with that. Who knows what movie this is from? Punch some letters and leave your answer in the comments. Gen X: why does no one acknowledge us? AARP: hey girl, what's up? This is just wrong. I might not have much money, but I can build it, fix it, grow it, catch it, or hunt it. Therefore, I am rich. This is something that, in my opinion, has been mostly lost to the younger generations. Even on just the fix it part. Most people today don't even know how to do proper maintenance on their vehicle, let alone if anything goes wrong in their house, like plumbing or electrical. They have to call a quote-unquote professional for all of those things. And most often, even these so-called professionals either don't know how to do the job or just don't care. Dad: let me take a picture that will make your mom angry. 1970. This was still true even up through the 80s and into the 90s. After that, it pretty much became a crime to even take this photo. Little known fact, this was one of the lost Star Trek episodes. You can only save one of these John Hughes classics. The others are gone forever. Well, it would immediately be down to Ferris Bueller's Day Off or The Breakfast Club. And I think I'd have to pick Ferris Bueller's Day Off. What's your guys' choice? When did you first realize you had trust issues? This was a snack when I was growing up. Yeah, you could just pick them off the vine. Generation X goals: own a house large enough that my body is found in the conservatory, with my maid standing over it holding a candlestick. How many of you guys remember, or even knew about, this spin-off from the Dukes of Hazzard? Still punk, I whisper as I reach for my pill organizer. I really wish that the last part wasn't true. Any Charles Bronson fans still around? He had some really good movies. But in my opinion, John Wayne is still king of the westerns. My younger self's mind would have been blown if you told me that Todd Bridges would outlive them all. Good luck coming for Gen X. Every last one of them can fight. They put them into training at age 2, handed them the keys to the couch. Handed them the keys to the house at age 4, and had them cooking by 7, and with neighborhood jobs at 9. Everyone over the age of 42 got some sort of story that starts with them fixing breakfast for school, with some wire light going down. They were escaping kidnappings and taking 5 subways solo at age 7. Like y'all, we soft. These people were built for survival. I'm just saying, if I had to pick a fight with a generation, I'm not fighting with the folks who are out here ironing their uniforms at age 5 and had 15 ways to get out of bloodstains so their mom didn't get mad at them for ruining their good clothes. They're the around and find out generation. I'm sure most of you guys here on the channel would agree with this. John Connor watching y'all make friends with AI. This is true. What's your guys' thoughts about this? Do you think it'll be a real fight? And if so, who do you think will win? Personally, if it is a real fight, I think Tyson will knock him out in the first round. But that'd be too short of a fight. So I'd be guessing they're probably going to make sure it's at least 3 rounds. What do you guys think? To get online back in the day, you either had to issue commands to the modem or get software to do it for you. Most of today's generation wouldn't understand what you mean by to get online. They'd think you're talking about how to connect to the Wi-Fi. If you start singing a certain song while looking at this, you qualify for a senior citizen discount. There will never be anything swaggier than Han Solo breaking into the literal Death Star, stealing some dude's armor, and then kicking his feet up like he owns the place. Legend. For those who may have been curious, here's what He-Man would look like without his chin and eyebrows. No, I wasn't curious. Before we had to wait for the computer to boot up, we had to wait for the TV to warm up. Then, what was the 80s like? We had dudes dressed up like fruit trying to sell us underwear. They're not wrong. Rest in peace, 1980s. How many of you remember seeing these TV commercials? Millennials, Gen Z, Gen X. I don't know why they have the generations out of order, and I sort of get what they're trying to convey, but I don't agree with this at all. As when you think about these guys and all the aspects of their lives, I think all of them, at least in some ways, were Gen X. You thought you were going to make it through Tuesday, didn't you? Yeah, so many lives lost. I love the main tagline here. How to talk your parents into partying with $1,300. They knew the real reason why we all wanted these, just to play games. But they also knew our parents would never go for that. So here, they were training the kids to become Apple salesmen. I'm gonna tell my kids, this is the original Fast and the Furious. Back to the Future predicted this. I've actually got some pretty bad examples of this in my Laugh While the World Burns series. Back in my day, this was our emojis. But you still had to make your own smiley face. How bad do things have to be for both of these to be in town? Probably pretty bad. (2024) Me. 1980s. Having to do research with an encyclopedia and missing the one volume you need. Or when you only had half the set because your parents were buying them a couple volumes at a time. You can probably smell this photo. This is true. They should remake Back to the Future 2, where there are no flying cars, and people just stare at their phones all the time, getting offended at everything. But if they'd put that in the movie, no one in the 80s would have ever believed that that would have been remotely possible. Now, that's just one of the reasons that so many of us would love to go back to the 80s. Having a 40-hour family road trip with no entertainment options. We had entertainment options. We could do things like read a book. Because, you know, when we were kids, we could read in a moving vehicle and not feel sick. You also had search word books, and you could play games on paper, like tic-tac-toe, hangman, other things. And you could also play games like I Spy. A typical Saturday night in the 80s. Well, this one wasn't really my Saturday night. When you flip through your 80s yearbook. This is actually pretty accurate. You cannot beat 80s movies. The Pro Modem 1200. It's about time. Yeah, that's what we'd say when it finally connected to the internet. The batteries are low. Better turn off bass boost to conserve energy. I'd actually completely forgot about doing this until I saw this meme. But it is very true. When listening to music, I've actually caught myself turning the volume down on my phone, even though that would not conserve your phone battery at all, because it's only connected to the speaker by Bluetooth. And whether it's your car or your headphones, they have their own power source. The only thing that might conserve the battery on your phone a little tiny bit is turning off the Bluetooth. But then you can't listen to your music, so what good is that? When I gotta go to work again, even though I just went yesterday. The Sears Video Arcade cartridge system will turn your TV set into a family game center. HDMI kids won't understand. This is actually a pretty good one in my opinion. How many of you guys at schools ever had pizza that looked like this? The pizza I always had growing up was just the square rectangles. But I vaguely remember one year that they had a different type. I don't think it was this, But it wasn't the regular square rectangles either. The perfect carpet doesn't exist. If I had a staircase in my house, I would love to have this. Click on one of the videos above to help support the channel. Please hit that like button and subscribe. I thank you all for watching. This is Acorn, over and out.